All right. First and foremost, Happy New Year. I hope all of you make 2025 a better year and everything that you are focusing on, working on, becomes a reality. And yes, this is the Raw Rundown. And no, it's not live. Normally, Raw Rundown is live, but being that I was not able to do a Raw Rundown live like we usually do on Tuesdays, and being that I'm home today, I want to get active here on the channel, posting content, all that stuff. I decided to record a Raw Rundown. And yes, as of this recording, it is Thursday. All right. And depending what time you watch this as we speak, sad would have already happened. Yes, I'm actually doing a live something about Dynamite. Again, depending what time you watch this video, sad would have already happened. Okay. But just so you know, I hope all of you again are having a good day. I hope again everything that you want to happen in 2025 comes to reality. Okay. But if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below here on the Around the Point Network. Also, hit that bell notification so you're notified whenever we go live and all that stuff. And we upload a video like this one. Yes, the Raw Rundown, the final face-off before Netflix. Yes, this is your Raw recap for the December 30th, 2024. The final Raw on the USA Network, because on January 6th, which is literally 4 days from now, because again, as I'm recording this, it's a Thursday, Raw will be on Netflix. Yeah, Raw will be on Netflix. And I'm looking at the card as it is. It's stacked. Next week's Raw is a stacked show. And I'm going to talk about it too. And funny enough, Bet Online already posted the betting odds for these matches that are happening next week as well on the debut episode of Raw on Netflix. Again, it's a stacked card, bro. You have literally two matches that could easily close the show. You have the tribal combat match between Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa to determine who is the true tribal chief. And then you have CM Punk, Seth Rollins, a match that people have been wanting to see for over a year now, right? Ever since Punk came back to WWE. And it looked like we were going to have it at WrestleMania 40 last year in Philly. But obviously, Punk got hurt and the match never came about. But here we are. Can't wait. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. What match are you looking forward to the most next week when Raw makes the move to Netflix? For all we know, hey, you could be looking more forward to, the last women's standing match between Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. Or maybe, just maybe, you're wondering, hey, will they actually debut Pentagon? Right? We saw the vignettes, right? All the little vignettes, and it's Pentagon, right? Will he be the mystery partner with Rey Mysterio as they face the New Day? Or maybe, just maybe, you're looking more forward to Drew McIntyre versus Jey Uso. We'll get into all this stuff. I'll do a little mini prediction at the end of all this, but let's get into Raw as a whole. Raw was live from Houston, Texas. Again, the final Raw on the USA Network. And it opened up with the New Day, that being Kofi and Xavier Woods. And they were getting booed, obviously, getting booed by the crowd. They did not let the New Day speak at all. Not one word. Nuclear heat. You thought Dominic Mysterio had it bad. Holy shit, these two guys. It's crazy. And then out came Jey Uso. Got a big reaction. Everybody was eating. Everybody was fucking eating. And obviously, Jey Uso poking some fun on the New Day, calling them chumps, saying, you know what, New Day sucks. And everybody was chanting. And it looked like they were going to get, and they were going to brawl or something. They had a little face off, a little stare down, a little back and forth. And eventually the New Day left. But then Jay, said, hey, I got some bigger fish to fry. Let's get on to bigger things that are important right now. Again, the new bloodline, right? OTC's going to handle that. He's going to take care of that. But what he wants to, that being Jey Uso, is get his hands on Drew McIntyre. So he calls him out to fight. Because again, Drew McIntyre, he's trying to, get his revenge on everyone from the OG bloodline, everyone that has fucked him over. And then a video popped up of Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, I think Tama Tonga, obviously, because Tonga Loa is out hurt. And just talking about, next week, Tribal Combat, how basically everyone, when it's all said and done, will acknowledge Solo Sikoa. Basically it. You could tell this was pre-recorded, probably on Friday, what have you, and it was played on Raw, right? And next thing you see, Drew McIntyre shows up, and he attacks Jey Uso. He attacks him, and Jey got his little hits too. It looked like, things were going to get evened out, right? Drew was going to go for the Claymore, and Jey super kicked him. But Drew got the upper hand, and he was going to hit him with the Claymore, and security got involved, personnel. But that wasn't going to stop Drew McIntyre, because eventually he got back into the ring and dropped Jey Uso with the Claymore and told Jey, you are next. So obviously he is next. And later on in the night, we found out that Adam Pearce made it official. It will be Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre one-on-one. And for those that are wondering, the betting odds on Bet Online has it right now. Drew McIntyre minus 500, Jey Uso plus 300 right now. For those of you out there who are curious and want to place a little bet and, make your bank account great again, as Chase Covington would say. But it should be a fun match, but I do see Drew McIntyre getting the win, to be honest with you guys. We then got the first match of the night. We had Chad Gable versus Otis, right? And it's crazy because at the beginning of before the match even started, there was a promo between, American Made, and basically the line at the end where they said, we were born here. We were raised here. We were made here. Very America-like, if you will. But nevertheless, the match itself, I thought it was a good match. Chad Gable working on the leg of Otis. There were some run-ins, obviously, on the outside. Even Maxine Dupree got involved and got involved with Ivy Nile for the most part. But when it was all said and done, Chad Gable made Otis tap out. And he basically said, early in the night, you know what? I'm going to give Otis the final lesson that the master is more superior than the student. And that's what happened. Otis eventually had no choice but to tap out. And it was a good one for Chad Gable. Good win. And hopefully this closes this chapter on Alpha Academy versus American Made. Hopefully we can all move on. Okay? I hope so. Let's move on from all this stuff. Even though I will say this, it's cool to see Otis not rocking the free Otis shirt. It's cool to see Tosawa not rocking the junior cadet shirt, right? But nevertheless, let's move on from this. Hopefully, better things happen for American Made in 2025, okay? From there, we did get a video package of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan delivering promos for the Women's Championship match. Basically, both women saying at the end of it all, it's time to put an end to this. Time to move on. They talked about their history, what each woman has done to one another, right? Injuring each other's arms and all that stuff. And then Liv Morgan, obviously, on this revenge tour, took the title away, took the Judgment Day away, took Rhea's man, and it's time to put an end to this. And they're going to have a last women standing match. And obviously backstage, we did see the Judgment Day in their clubhouse. And basically Finn Balor said, you know what? When you listen to Finn, you win. Because later on in the night, it was going to be Finn Balor, I believe also Carlito, and my bad, it was Finn Balor, it was JD McDonough and Dominic versus the War Raiders and Damian Priest, how they're going to win that match and get their tag titles back eventually. Again, basically, when you listen to Finn, you win. And then he told Raquel Rodriguez to give Liv Morgan his regards. He wishes her the best in the last women standing match happening next week on Netflix. For those of you who are wondering on that match, if you want to place a bet, Rhea Ripley is a -1,000, while Liv Morgan's a +550. For those of you that want to place a bet and all that stuff, we were supposed to get R-Truth and Pete Dunne, never came about. Pete Dunne attacked R-Truth on the entrance area, so there was that. It never happened, and yeah, um, cool, I guess, for the most part. From then, we got the first semi-final match of the Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament, Dakota Kai and Zoe Stark. I thought for the most part, this was a very a fine match. Both women got their moments to shine. You want to show the adversity that Dakota Kai had to go through, right? Because remember, Dakota Kai got taken out by Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark a while ago, right? So there's this history going around. So you want to see that, Dakota Kai can shine here. And she did. She got a win. I didn't like the finisher. She had her in a fireman's carry into a Pele kick. I don't know. It was more like a eat the feet type of thing, but it just looked sloppy. The finish looked sloppy, but nonetheless, Dakota Kai got the win and she advances to the finals. And she was expecting a damage control final, because that what they were saying early before the match, right? Like, it's going to be both Dakota Kai and Io Sky in the finals. It doesn't matter who wins, because as long as it's someone for damage control that becomes the first women's Intercontinental champion. Because later on in the night, Io Sky had a match with Lyra Valkyria, which we'll get into later on in this little recap that we're doing here. They showed vignettes and they reminded everyone that John Cena's retirement tour begins next week. So, yes, he's going to be there. And we'll see what he's going to do. Likely he'll announce he'll be in the Rumble match. I think that's possible scenario. But I've seen people online say, oh, you know what? Cena needs to go after the world title off the rip. I don't think so. I think with Cena, you got to first build this up. Him getting his first one-on-one win, which he hasn't won in years, a one-on-one match. For the most part, all these one-on-one matches that he's had, he's been taking L's. So you want to first have him win a one-on-one match. Yes, eventually the goal will be try to get to 17 times. But I just think it'll be easy as all hell. He wins the Rumble and then goes to WrestleMania. That's easy. You want to make it challenging. So we'll see how they go about that next week on Raw. From there, we did get Damian Priest and the War Raiders, that being Eric and Ivar, versus the Judgment Day of Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Dominic Mysterio. The match was fine for the most part. Everyone got their moment to shine. They did reference the fact that, Eric and Ivar did get their tag team title win in Boston, right? Where for them it's home and family was there and all that stuff. And again, everyone got their moment to shine for the most part. And Damian Priest ended up pinning Dominic after hitting the South of Heaven for the 1, 2, 3. I also want to talk about one more thing. People I've seen online not happy with the new theme song of the Judgment Day. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it's not for me. What are we doing? I'll be honest. I'm okay with it for now. Like, again, as someone who's big into rap and trap and that type of beat, I'm cool with it. Don't get me wrong. The original theme song that they had also was a good song, but we'll see what happens. Do they go back to the original theme song? We'll see. But for the most part, I know there's people who are not happy with the new song, and that's fine. For me, it doesn't bother me, to be honest. But I get for those of you who are very if you will, but it is what it is. I did mention earlier that they did announce Jey Uso versus Drew McIntyre for next week. They even aired a vignette for Pentagon, right? So that tells you off the rip what's going to happen, right? We did get after this a Ludwig Kaiser in the ring, a little promo. He was trying to call out Braun Breaker. It's kind of weird. Like, you would have thought Braun Breaker would be on the show, but he wasn't, right? But it is what it is. He's calling out Braun Breaker, but out came Sheamus, and they started brawling, going at it and stuff. And eventually, Sheamus got the upper hand here. And likely, you know what? If you want to do a match on Raw next week, go ahead. I'm not going crazy for it because I've seen this before. It looks like, again, Braun Breaker has some contenders. Good for him. And I do think at WrestleMania, or if not even that, like somewhere down the road, I think that's more appropriate to say, we're going to get Braun Breaker and Sheamus for the Intercontinental Championship. After this, we got Rey Mysterio and the LWO. They're trying to motivate Otis, right? After he lost, he tapped out to Chad Gable in the ankle lock. And he told him, hey, you know what? You'll get your shot next time and you'll win, basically, right? And then the New Day showed up and they interrupt Rey Mysterio and all that stuff. And they basically challenged Rey Mysterio to a tag team match next week. And they never specified who it's going to be. They never did. They never did. Keep that in mind. A lot of people are saying Pentagon is gonna be Pentagon Jr. We're gonna get a debut next week on Raw on Netflix in LA. You could, but I would laugh if they just troll everyone and they end up having it be either Joaquin Wilde or Cruz del Toro. They shouldn't. I think, yeah, you should debut Pentagon in LA. He'll get a big reaction, but we'll see how they go about it. All right. Again, next week's Raw is a very, very must-see. I'm pretty sure the boys over at True Heel Heat will do a watch-along. If they do, I'll be there for sure, but we'll see. We did get the second semifinal match, Lyra Valkyria and Io Sky. And look, going into this, you probably would have thought, Io Sky was going to win this, no doubt about it. But they made this a very good competitive match between both women. And when it was all said and done, they pulled the upset. They had Lyra Valkyria beat Io Sky. So now we're getting Lyra Valkyria and Dakota Kai in the finals to determine who will be the first women's Intercontinental Champion. I love the you didn't see this coming move, where if you notice on SmackDown to determine the first women's U.S. champion, people were already saying, oh, Chelsea Green, because, again, it's the character, right? That's the character that gets her over, right? And when it happened, you were happy for her, right, that she won the title. Here, this is more of the work rate. And these are two women that when the bell rings, you know they can go. I'm talking about Lyra and Dakota. And it should be a fun match, all you want. For me, I will say this. I'm going to go with Dakota Kai. Believe it or not, I think Dakota Kai wins next week. As if they do this, I think they will, but we'll see. But I'm going to go with Dakota Kai to become the first women's Intercontinental Champion. As far as Lyra Valkyria, look, she's going to have her moment. Just not going to be at this moment in particular, but we'll see. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. All right. And I've been wrong before. Trust me. They also had a vignette hyping up the upcoming Tribal Combat match between Solo Sikoa and Roman Reigns. For everyone's sake, I hope it's better than the match that they had. Well, not them, but I hope this Tribal Combat match is better than the Tribal Combat match that WWE put out at SummerSlam 2023 between Roman and Jay. Trust me, I was there. When you thought about it, like, oh man, I wonder what they're gonna do. Will they bring out, the elders and all that stuff? And no, just a regular street fight, basically. I hope they don't repeat that here next week, but we'll see what happens. Okay. From then we got the face-off, Rollins and Punk, and these two guys, as far as words on the mic, they were throwing haymakers at each other. Punk referenced the fact, oh, if I beat you, you're going to go away for 10 more years and cry and moan and call them a quitter. And Punk basically rebutted all back. I made a choice. I don't regret it. At the end of the day, that Steve Austin, he took his ball, went home. And then he referenced his wife, that being Rollins' wife, Becky Lynch. the man, did she take her ball and went home? Because we have not seen her in a couple of months. Even though Becky Lynch, when you think about it, she is on the advertisement for Raw next week. She is on those commercials and all that stuff. And then Rollins threw the line back of, we had a kid, something you don't know about, because obviously Punk and AJ don't have kids yet. They have Larry the dog. But be that as it may, just the back and forth between these two guys has just been crazy. Punk went on to insinuate that he didn't want to leave WWE. He just hated the guy in charge. But that guy loved Seth Rollins, that being Triple H, when you think about it, right? I know a lot of people would think, oh, Vince, but no, at the time, when you think about it, right? Triple H was the COO, right? Punk was, the champion, all that stuff, and they had their back and forth back then, right? So people just keep that in mind as well. Punk said that he was going to take all the arrows that Rollins shot at him and stuff him down his throat next week. And then Rollins went on to say that he's going to burn Punk to the ground. Very good back and forth. I enjoyed this. I am excited for this match next week. It should be crazy. It's crazy to think also that we're getting more than just one match between these two. I hope. And we'll see how this plays out. Now, as far as a winner goes, I think Punk wins the first match. And then we'll see more matches between them two. I think at WrestleMania, they're going to have their final match, but we'll see. But if you want to place a bet on that, CM Punk is a -175. Seth Rollins is a +135. I'm going to do predictions real quick here. As far as the tag team match between the New Day and Rey Mysterio and his mystery partner, I'm going to go with Rey and the mystery partner. That is if the mystery partner is Pentagon. And I think it will be because, again, they're in LA. And you're going to get that big reaction in LA. So there's that. Again, Rey and his mystery partner is a -200. The New Day's a +150. Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso. Drew McIntyre's a -500. Jey Uso's a +300. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre here. Should be a good match back and forth after what happened, right? And again, Drew is still on that mission of trying to take out everyone from the OG bloodline. So I'm going to go here with Drew McIntyre getting the win. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley. This should be it. This is the last women's standing match, obviously, but this should be done. We move on after this, right? I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley here. And let's see who they decide to have Rhea feud with going into the new year after this. We'll see. But yeah, Liv Morgan's a +550. Rhea Ripley's a -1,000. Just keep that in mind too. We have the Tribal Combat, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. The winner gets the Ulafala. They become Tribal Chief. I'm going to go with Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is a -550. Solo Sikoa is a +325. And then again, the main event, CM Punk and Seth Rollins. A match that, like I mentioned moments ago, was supposed to happen last year at WrestleMania when Rollins was the World Heavyweight Champion. Punk came back, right? You remember when Punk, returned at Survivor Series, that image of Rollins going off, even though it was off air, but still he went off, mad as all hell that Punk is back. And right, the tension is there. The hatred is there. I don't think it'll be just one and done. We're going to get multiple matches between these two guys. But when it's all said and done here, again, Punk's a -175, Rollins a +135. Kind of close here. But if I'm picking a winner, I think Punk wins the first match. And then you go on with multiple matches, with it obviously concluding at WrestleMania. For all we know, you could do like Gunther versus Punk at the Rumble. And Rollins fucks over CM Punk, right? Possible scenario, but we'll see how that goes too. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments, what match you're looking forward to next week and all that fun stuff. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below. Give this video a big old thumbs up. Share it through social media. Follow me on X at HeelSteven. All right. And also follow the Around the Point Network over on X at AT Point Network. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, by the time you watch this, sad would have already went live. Something about Dynamite. Just call me Cope. Would have already went live. But this is the Raw Rundown. Thank you all for watching. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.